Hello, how are you doing? Hope you are doing great. Welcome to my channel. In today's video, we're going to be talking about how you can survive the economic storm of Nigeria. As you are all aware that Nigeria is facing a lot of economic crisis. So, I'm going to be giving you tips on how you can survive the economic storm. If you are the type that you have been wondering of how you can survive this situation, that everything is weighing you down, definitely this video is for you. Make sure you watch to the end. Let's begin. Before I proceed on the ways to survive the economic storm, I'm going to start by listing the necessities of life. And when I mean necessities of life, you know that necessities are the things that you cannot do without. So out of necessities of life is food. Number one is food. Number two is shelter. Number three, clothing. Number four, if you are a family man or a family woman, the schools that your children will be going is part of the necessities of life for you. And the final one is means of transportation, such as bike, car, or any other means of transportation. But you'll be wondering that why is all this that listed as necessities of life? Yes, I understand, but there are some like air. Air is also necessities of life, but you cannot purchase air, right? You cannot purchase air. And water is free in nature. You cannot buy water. Those ones who are part of necessities of life. But I'm talking about those ones that they have monetary value. You can actually purchase with money. And if I want to add to the list of the necessities of life, I'm going to add phone, your mobile phone. Then if I want to go on prioritizing, there is what we call scale of preference. Scale of preference, it means you prioritize the importance need, prioritizing your importance need, those need that are more important, that are more paramount. So when out of the necessity of life I've listed, you will see that food, shelter, and clothing, they are the most important thing that you cannot do without them. You cannot do without food. You get ulcer. If somebody gets ulcer, it might lead to death. Then you cannot do without where you will stay. That is shelter. And clothing, you cannot be moving around nakedly. You need to put on clothes. The school fees is in the scale of payment. The school fees is the school that your children will be going. The school they will be going is also part of the necessities of life for family, men or women. So let me proceed to the main topic. Out of the ways you can survive the economic storm of Nigeria, the number one is cut your expenses. Cut your expenses. So how can you cut your expenses? If you want to cut your expenses based on food, you start by buying food in bulk. If you are the type that used to buy your food in piecemeal, you need to buy your food in bulk. Then you go for home cooked meal. Most people, they love to eat all these restaurant meals because it's fast and kind of it will save your time and energy, but it is taking much money out of your pockets. So if you want to cut your expenses on this, you need to go for home cooked meal. Another way you can cut your expenses on food is for going for alternative food. I mean, it goes for food that can substitute. You go for food that can substitute the other. And what do I mean by this? If you are the type that likes to consume rice, and you know that rice is very expensive now, you are spending almost like 10k in buying just one pencil of rice. You can go for alternative food that is local, natural, and less expensive. If you are the type that used to follow my channel, you will see that I used to post alternative food for rice. You can go and check it on my channel. Then another ways you can cut your expenses. Let me talk about shelter. How can you cut your expenses on shelter? Most people, they used to go for a house that they cannot even pay for the rent yearly. And if you know that you cannot afford the particular apartment, why did you go for it? And you know that there are lesser apartment that suits your monthly income, then I will advise you go for apartments that you can afford the rent yearly. So that is how you can cut your expenses on shelter. Then how can you cut your expenses on clothing? You are aware that most people, they have clothes. In fact, most people have more than 100 clothes. in their wardrobe. You can maintain your previous clothes. If you maintain it, it will look durable as if you just bought it. Then you cut expenses by not buying clothes every month or every year. You need to cut your expenses on clothing. Then how can you cut your expenses on the school that your children will be going? Because if you are aware to, this one is very very peculiar to family men. The amount of money that school fees is the amount of money that the school fees is taking out of your monthly salary or your monthly income is kind of higher than others. But if you cut your expenses on the type of school your children will be going, I'm very sure and certain that you will use the rest of the money for other things, and you're able to save some amount of money. So cut your expenses on the school you take your children to. You can go for schools with less school fees, and actually they will serve the same purpose like the previous one you want them to go. Then another ways you can survive the economic storm of Nigeria is to tighten your finances. Tighten your finances. What do I mean by this? If you want to tighten your finances, you have to start by eliminating unnecessary expenses. You are going to review your monthly, the way you spend monthly, you review it. Then if you want to tighten your expenses, if you want to I'm sorry for that, if you want to tighten your finance, you need to look for side hustle job. I mean some job that you can do, you can couple with the present job you are doing, such as online jobs or kind of small business. You can couple with that, you know, affects your original job. Then if you do this, definitely you tighten your finances and you have many sources of income. Another ways you can survive the economic storm is to reduce social outing. Reduce social outing. You are the type that you love to go out, to go to parties, ceremonies, and you know that the amount of money you will spend on going to parties, because it starts from the clothes you will buy, then transportation, then you need to reduce social outing. Then with this you'll be able to save some money and use it on necessary things. Then another, I've given like two. The first one is cut your expenses. The second way is tighten your finances. The third way is to reduce your social outings. Then the number four ways is to utilize public transportation. Utilize public transportation. What do I mean by this? If you are the type that if you have car or bike, you know that the price of fuel in Nigeria is very 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 high, and the price is very exorbitant. And just imagine that you are going out and you are taking your car. Consider the amount of fuel you will buy compared to when you take public transport. So when you take public transportation, it's going to reduce the expenses you will spend in buying fuel. So this fourth ways, utilize public transportation, it will make you to save, as in it will reduce your expenses and you're able to save some money. Then the number fifth ways rather, is to join cooperative. All these local cooperative, if you are a salary earner, some of you will be aware of this cooperative, that they will give you loan, or there are some cooperative that will give you money for your school fees, for your children's school fees. There are some cooperative that will give you food with discounts. You can join this cooperative, and by doing so, it's going to boost your financial status. Join